Hi, I'm Seamless, and today is Monday, which doesn't really mean anything. Days pretty much don't matter anymore, but I'm doing a sound design recap. So today I made this sound. Among other things, but this is actually ridiculous. Not that ridiculous. It's about on par for the kind of stuff I do, but this is a vocoder sound, and it's based on citrus, but here's the thing about the citrus that I'm doing. I may have done this. I'm pretty sure I've done this a long time ago in one of the how to base somewhere, but I recreated an oscillator from FM8 procedurally. And what I mean by that is as it's being generated, I didn't just resynthesize a single cycle, which I did try. I did try to do that. It worked, but I didn't want that particular one. What I did was I recreated the eighth formant type. And essentially the way this works is that you pick a tone that's not the bass tone. In this case, bass tone is ratio 2, so I've made ratio 12 is pretty high. And then you ring modulate it by the bass tone. And then the shape that you use is this. You do this by doing the half, and it's a saw wave. Now, this essentially works like really fast volume automation with the way that it's set up. With the way that it's set up. And what this is doing is it's saying that for each like cycle of the waveform, you will see a faster waveform inside it because it's a higher pitch, but then it'll start loud and it'll get quiet until the very end of the waveform. It'll begin and start out loud again, and then that's the formant waveforms. And then which formant it is determined by what tone it is in the inside. And if you ever look at, I can actually show you because I've made it open because that happens later. If you ever look like here's the six, that's the format. This is what I'm talking about. And that's the shape that we created with this idea inside Citrus. And I made that into operator 2, and it's operating on modulator 1, which is just a sine wave. And this sounds pretty much exactly what it sounds like when you modulate a sine wave by the eighth format inside FM8. Additionally, I'm also ring modulating operator 1 by operator 4, which has my usual ring modulator kind of like half and even setup here. Thing is, though, is that this is going into operator 1 along with the FM, which I'm modulating together with operator 1's mod input tab, which governs the overall modulation input of FM and RM all at once into operator 1 anyway. And that's going on mod X. So this means that when the mod X is all the way down, it not only is it not being modulated by operator 2, but it's also not being modulated by operator 4. But all the way up, it's being modulated by both. So I'm controlling RM and FM at the same time. That's being distorted and it's being phased, and then it's also being distorted. But what I'm utilizing here is another technique from a how to base, which was to just have like a very focused frequency spectrum and pre-distortion, and then to kind of EQ it out later. This peak here is being distorted by this guy pretty heavily. It's a lot quieter, so you have to crank up the pre-gain and then also kind of make it a harsh profile. And then I brought down the resulting business there. That's layered in with the original. It's also being phased, and then it's being distorted again. And that's the carrier. That is how I made the carrier. The modulator is my voice, just going some you can see it, some formanty kind of thing. And I'm controlling the time manually. I also turned on perfect precision, turned on granularity all the way off, smooth mod off, denoise off, high precision on. It's just essentially it's saying highest quality possible for everything. Yep. Now this guy is actually a separate sub, just entirely separate. Normally I would do it out of here, but the way that I was going about doing what I did meant that the sine wave is being screwed with a lot. So I just injected it as I needed to, pretty much where I needed it to go. Vocodex is not that special. The weirdness being from here is that I'm automating not just the pitch, but also the bandwidth. I believe this is the bandwidth. Yeah, this is the bandwidth. This is the pitch. This is the Harmer's time position, and then this is the FM amount. Sounds kind of choppy, a little bit choppier than it should sound. This guy, okay, so then it's being high passed, and then the bass comes in here, and then it's being compressed together. This is actually rather regular compression happening right now. I'm not doing a lot of intense things. This is just keeping it together. And then I decided I wanted to FM it. But this is more than the usual, just straight post FM. Because what I'm doing here is I am FMing an output operator by the input operator, and then FMing the input operator by that same operator, and then they're both going out. Why? I don't know. I decided to try and do that and see what would happen, and it ended up being neat. F is just a sine wave. It's at the ratio 2 level, which is the same level as Citrus, to be the same note. By default, FMA starts at ratio 1, which is an octave lower, and we don't want that, so that's what's up. It sounds pretty choppy. It's supposed to be pretty choppy, but it doesn't sound as choppy as it sounds right now because the playback and recording is apparently a little bad. And then I high pass it again because again this screwed with the sine wave that was coming in here. And then this is just an EQ to kind of A, EQ it, and B, also to bring everything together. I honestly think the bandwidth modulation is causing the problem. Nope. So beyond that, what else I've got here is recordings of this that I've done various things to, mostly just pitching. A lot of these might not have been when I did the FM though. This one, I decided to try a thing where I took the MIDI and I made an octave higher and I recorded that, and then I pitched it down just to see what would happen. I was making a point about how really basic things like changing the pitch of something, just to pitch, not time stretching it, not warping it, not anything, just changing the pitch on something like this, especially something like this, something that has vocal and formaty qualities, can lead to very interesting results. Yeah. Not a huge amount going on here. That's terribly, well, I mean, this is actually just utilizing a lot of concepts I've discussed lately about ideas, like the eighth formant thing in Citrus, the harmor as a modulator container, separate sub, FM, post-FM with FM8, distortion, pre-distortion EQ, and post-distortion sort of leveling, pre-distortion like filter, as I should say. So this is utilizing a whole bunch of little things to add up to being one kind of neat thing. I will find a way to put this project up. I think I'll have to make it a zip loop file because I have to contain the audio file that is this being my voice here. That should be fine though. It's going to be a drag sample, which means if you have that particular drag sample, then it'll switch it out for whatever you've got instead of what's in the file, but just switch it out with whatever's in the package that I actually put up. And it should work out fine. If you have any questions about any of that, let me know. And I really hope I had screen. I did have capture layer windows on. Yay. Good. If you have any questions about any of this at all, anything ever, let me know. As usual, have a nice day.